Ever since I was 8 years old, I've been a die-hard wrestling fan, particularly that of the WWF at the time, which is run by the one and only Vince McMahon. I've never stopped watching wrestling. My love for wrestling just kept growing, growing, and growing from the time I was 8 to the time of now. However, now my passion for wrestling is dead. It's dying. It's dying a rapid, miserable death, and I hate it. I hate the fact that the thing that I loved as a child is the thing that I just can't stomach anymore. Vince McMahon needs to either retire or he needs to die. I know it sounds harsh. I know it sounds cruel. But deep down, you know it's true. He needs to either give up his reins to someone else, particularly maybe a Triple H or somebody, or he needs to drop dead at this moment. He needs to drop. Vince McMahon has become a cancer to his own company. This guy is a wretched son of a bitch. He takes things from NXT that are cool, that are awesome, like the War Raiders, like Aleister Black, like Ricochet, like Bobby Roode. The second he plucks them from NXT to the main roster, he makes them so fucking irrelevant that it's not even funny. Bobby Roode went from being this glorious Rick Rude motherfucker to a bum. The War Raiders were this badass team in NXT. Now they've had 3 different name changes in 3 different weeks, and you took away everything that made them. You took away their mystique. You took away everything by changing their names from the War Raiders to the Viking Experience to the Viking Raiders. You take away the gimmick, the whole war gimmick. It doesn't exist anymore. Ricochet. Is there any reason why Ricochet's entrance is fucking lame as shit? Is there any reason why Aleister Black's entrance feels like I'm watching a Universal monster movie? Yes, to be fair, both Aleister Black and Ricochet, for the most part, have been booked fairly well on the main roster, but their aura, their mystique is gone because you add these little tweaks that you don't need, and you just take away the mystery of it all. You take away the epicness, the mystique, because you add these sound effects that just look ridiculous. Not only that, Ricochet is doing nonsense with Bobby Roode. He's just spinning his wheels. Aleister Black, I don't know what the hell is going on with him. You have a guy like Andrade Cien Almas tearing it up on NXT. The guy is infrequently featured on SmackDown Live. Samoa Joe. Why is Samoa Joe booked to be such a loser? Vince McMahon. I don't care what people say. Vince McMahon is the man who makes all the real decisions. McMahon sees a script before the show's on. He rips it up and rewrites it, making the writers crunch with 2 hours, with 30 minutes before showtime. There's no reason why a finalized script for your show needs to be submitted 2 minutes before you're supposed to go on the air. Who runs a business like that? On the business side, yes, the WWE is making money. On the business side, they're untouchable. But on the presentation, on the TV side, on the wrestling side, it's fucking garbage. The ratings are going downhill. The writing is retarded. You're pushing the wrong people, and you're not pushing anyone else. Your whole logic is to build around one guy when you should be building around multiple guys. The reason why eras like Hogan, the Hogan era worked for its time, was because wrestling was just getting into the mainstream back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, when Hogan was on top, wrestling was just getting into that mainstream, was getting that mainstream appeal. So you can get away with building your entire brand around someone like a Hulk Hogan. But at the same time, you had people like the Macho Man Randy Savage, like Ted DiBiase, like Jake Roberts, who were being built up as well. And being built up very good. Being booked to look like superstars in the Attitude Era. You know, again, Austin was the focal point, but you had The Undertaker, you had Mankind, you had The Rock, you had Triple H, and you had your B teams like a Ken Shamrock, who you could put into a main event spot if one of your heavy hitters went down. You had a Ken Shamrock who was legit enough to be a credible main event player in the short term. You know, that's when you had good long-term booking and putting the right people in the right positions. Now, everything's all chaotic. We don't know who's in the mid card. We don't know who's in the main event because everyone keeps flip flopping. There's no division. There's no nothing. Again, it all goes back to Vince McMahon and his senile old mind not knowing what to do because he's old. He's out of touch. Go do the XFL and leave. Give up the reins to people who actually care about wrestling because it's obvious that you're more focused on nothing but garbage. This rant is a long time coming because I love professional wrestling. Even though the WWE is fucking garbage now, and I can't stand them, I still have, a small part of me still loves the WWE because of all the memories it gave me over the years. You know, the stuff with Austin, the stuff with Rock, the stuff with Kane and The Undertaker. You know, the Ruthless Aggression era has some good moments in it. You know, every so on and so forth, you'll get a good moment in WWE, and they're few and far between. You know, you'll get a stuff like a CM Punk. You'll get something like a Firefly Funhouse, which is actually really entertaining, and is showing off a good, sinister side to Bray Wyatt. But again, those things are so few and far between. It's not even funny. And the only way wrestling can get this company can get back to any sort of momentum, even if it's not going to happen right away, which we all know that because so much damage has been done, Vince needs to either retire or he needs to die in order to get some sort of salvage from the WWE. Because as long as this fucking guy is alive or this guy is in power, this company is going to continue to die a miserable death. The ratings are going to sink lower and lower and lower. Fan interest is going to go down the tubes more now than it has ever done. AEW can't launch officially on TV anytime soon. At this point, I don't give a fuck if Impact Wrestling catches fire and the Pursuit channel ends up becoming cable, ends up going on fucking national whatever. I don't care if Ring of Honor strikes a TV deal with fucking CBS or ABC. I don't care. At this point, interest in wrestling is down the tubes. I don't give a fuck about New Japan. I don't care about the indie scenes. Mainstream wrestling? Who really cares? Honestly, who really cares? No one's really talking about it. I'm not saying AEW is going to be the answer to get good quality in WWE because we don't know how AEW is going to even succeed anyway. Everyone wants to keep touting AEW, but no one's thinking realistically. Realistically, there's good chance AEW can prosper. There's a good chance AEW can fail. AEW, as of right now, is not the be-all, end-all. It's not the answer. The answer is to get Vince McMahon out of power, put the right people in the right positions, and start making money again. Making money with interesting and creative characters. Making money with good writing. You know? Listen, I love the Attitude Era. And the Attitude Era produced some of the best stories ever. Yes, you had McMahon working with Russo. That's beside the point. That was at a time where McMahon was open to ideas. Now, this motherfucker is closed off to ideas. You got 30 fucking writers, and not one of those monkeys can write a fucking show. Then you got Vince McMahon, who takes the show they write, rips it up, and writes a new one himself, and it ends up being fucking garbage. Vince McMahon. I will respect this man for what he's done in the wrestling business as a whole. Vince McMahon played a large part in making wrestling mainstream. You know, it's the combination of Hogan and Vince that made wrestling mainstream. It's because of Vince McMahon that I became a wrestling fan with the WWF and now WWE. For that, I will always have a tremendous amount of respect for the man. But this new Vince has to go. This new Vince has to retire or he has to die. He's a cancer and he's killing everything that he touches. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.